Right now, millions of people selling online are pricing their items using a method that is practically guaranteed to make them lose money.
Yeah, it's wild.
And the absolute craziest part of all this, it's the exact method that the major platforms tell them to use.
It really is a massive blind spot, you know? We're basically taught to look for historical patterns to guide our decisions.
Right.
And in the e-commerce space, that comfort in the past has essentially become a trap.
It feels incredibly safe, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like navigating a ship by strictly looking at the wake you leave behind.
That's a great way to put it.
But in the highly competitive world of online selling, where success ultimately comes down to who holds the best and most current data, looking backwards might actually be the very thing sinking your business.
Oh, absolutely. It's dangerous.
Today, our deep dive into the materials is focused on a service called ReSeller. This is a tool that claims to completely revolutionize how e-commerce entrepreneurs operate, specifically on eBay.
Yeah, and it bills itself as an app built by resellers for resellers.
Exactly. Providing intelligence in search that feels like it's quite literally from the future. Okay, let's unpack this, because the most fascinating part of what we are looking at today isn't just the flashy software features.
No, it's not.
It's how ReSeller actively dismantles the oldest, most ingrained golden rule of the entire platform.
Yeah, and to really understand the gap in the market that a tool like ReSeller is trying to fill, we have to start by exploring that flawed methodology.
Golden rule itself.
Exactly. It's a practice so deeply ingrained in the reseller community that it's practically religion at this point.
Oh, for sure.
I'm talking about the advice to exclusively use sold's information when pricing your inventory.
Right. The community calls this comping, or running comps.
Yes, running comps.
So for you listening, it's like you find a vintage t-shirt at a thrift store, you look up what that exact t-shirt has sold for previously, and you use that to figure out what you should charge today.
Exactly. And the infrastructure of eBay itself encourages this. They've built research tools that share historical sales information going back up to 3 years.
3 whole years.
Right. The result is that sellers generally fall into one of two camps. They either price their items based entirely on these historical solds, or they throw their hands up and completely guess.
And let's be real about what this comping process actually looks like for the average person out there.
It's tedious.
Very. You have an item in your hand, you run a search for solds on your phone, you get this list. But nobody is looking at the entire history of solds for that item.
No, that would take forever.
Right. Instead, you look at a tiny, tiny sample. You scroll through the first 5, maybe 10 or 15 sold listings.
Yeah, just whatever fits on the screen.
Exactly. You find a few that look similar to the condition of your item. You kick a magic number somewhere in that range, and then you just cross your fingers and hope it sells right away.
And there is immense psychological comfort in that process, you know.
Totally.
You have a small sample, it's easy to digest, and it allows you to quickly arrive at a listing price you can feel confident about.
Because someone else paid that exact amount 3 weeks ago.
Exactly.
But I gotta say, I've completely been burned by this.
I've really?
Yeah, I remember a time I found this sealed board game. I ran the solds, saw it regularly, went for $50, and I bought it for 10.
Okay. Good margin on paper.
Right. I'm doing the math in my head, thinking I just made a solid $40 profit. But then the reality of the platform hits.
The fees.
The fees. By the time I paid the final value fee, which, for anyone who doesn't know, is the percentage eBay takes from the total sale, including shipping.
Yep.
And then I paid for promoted listings just to get my item seen at the top of the search results. I mean, I think my $30 profit turned into something like $4.
Oh, man. That margin erosion is incredibly common. And really, it's a symptom of a larger problem.
Yeah.
This raises an important question. Why is relying strictly on solds fundamentally flawed from a broader data perspective?
I mean, I'd love to know.
If we look at this through the lens of microeconomics, solds are what we call a lagging indicator. They tell you what did happen.
Okay.
They confirm a past reality. But that historical data tells you absolutely nothing about the current level of competition.
It's exactly like driving down the highway by only looking in your rearview mirror.
Yes, exactly that.
You know exactly where you've been, you know exactly what the road behind you looks like, but you have absolutely no idea what massive traffic jam is sitting directly in front of you.
Right, you're driving blind.
Without seeing the current landscape, your historical data is completely useless. Like if there are suddenly 20 other people selling the exact same board game for half your magic number, it does not matter that it sold for $50 last month.
Precisely. The past price does not dictate the present value if the supply has suddenly surged.
But wait, I want to play devil's advocate here for a
Please
second.
go for it.
If I stop looking at solds and I start looking at active or currently listed items, aren't I just looking at the prices of things that haven't sold yet?
That's a fair question.
Right. Like, why should I base my pricing strategy on the losers, the items sitting there collecting digital dust?
See, that is the exact mental hurdle most sellers can't get past. But here is why that thinking is backwards. The unsold reality is the current market pressure.
Okay, how so?
Yes, some of those active listings are overpriced items that will never sell, but many of them represent your actual live competition.
Oh, I see.
If a buyer is searching for that vintage t-shirt today, they don't care what someone else paid yesterday. They care about what their options are right now.
They just want the best deal today.
Exactly. If your item is priced at $50 based on historical data, but there are 10 identical active listings sitting at $30, your item is invisible to that buyer.
Wow.
You are the overpriced loser in that scenario.
Okay, that makes total sense because I'm not looking at what was, I need to look at what is.
Exactly.
But I also understand why people avoid doing this. Trying to manually parse through currently listed items is an absolute nightmare.
Oh, it's practically impossible to do efficiently on the native platforms.
Yeah, you run a search and you get this endless long scroll of items for sale.
Just page after page.
Yeah, there could be 20 or there could be 20,000 of the same item. You're just scrolling, trying to hold all those numbers, conditions, and shipping costs in your head.
It's cognitive overload.
And on top of that, eBay frequently truncates the total number of results at the bottom of the page. It rounds it down and just says something vague like 1,800 plus listings.
Right, so you don't even know the true scope of the market you're entering.
Exactly.
Which is exactly where the core premise of Reseller comes into play. They are trying to shift sellers from looking in the rearview mirror to looking through a clear windshield.
The live market.
Yes. The major paradigm shift they offer is a focused analytical breakdown of currently listed results.
Okay.
Instead of endlessly scrolling past truncated results, Reseller pulls that entire live market into one single digestible display.
And this isn't just a massive list of links, right? The material outlines a quick view summary that gives you a buy price, a sell price, and the exact profit.
Yes, it puts it right in front of you.
And that profit calculation fixes the exact problem I ran into with my board game. Reseller calculates all the eBay fees up front.
The whole ecosystem of costs.
Exactly. Not just the basic final value fee, but everything. You know your margins before you even list the item.
But the true visual innovation that sets this apart is their scatter plot view.
Oh, this part is brilliant.
It really is. This is where they turn raw, overwhelming data into a strategic map. Instead of a linear list, Reseller plots all current listings on a graph.
Like a literal scatter plot.
Right. The vertical axis is the price, and the horizontal axis is the age of the listing, basically how long it has been sitting unsold.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because the age of the listing is the secret sauce, isn't it?
Absolutely. Think about why age matters. If you see a dot high up on the graph, meaning it has a high price, and it's sitting all the way to the right, meaning it's been listed for, say, 180 days,
Yeah.
that is dead data. That tells you the market absolutely rejects that price.
Nobody is biting.
Exactly. But if you see a cluster of dots lower down that were listed just 5 minutes ago or 5 days ago, that is the live pulse of the market.
So you can instantly see exactly where your potential listing sits in the pack.
Precisely.
You literally see the sweet spot. You can visualize whether you're way at the top, overpriced and aging out, or if you're right in the middle in that perfect competitive zone where items actually move.
It takes all the guesswork out of it.
It really does. And my favorite detail about this scatter plot is how you can interact with it. The materials mention a feature where you can physically remove specific listings from your results.
Oh, the exclusion tool? It's incredibly practical.
Yes, because there's always that one listing that completely ruins the curve, you know?
Oh.
Say you're looking at the scatter plot for a common coffee mug, and there's a dot way up at the top because someone priced it at $10,000 as a joke.
Where they just added an extra zero by mistake.
Exactly. In a normal search, that outlier completely skews your perception of the average market price.
Okay.
But with Reseller, you just tap that dot and pluck it out of the data.
It's gone.
Right. It's like putting noise-canceling headphones on your market research. You mute the irrelevant outliers, you quiet the noise, and you focus strictly on your true, direct competition.
I love the noise canceling analogy because that is exactly what good data analysis should do. It filters out the noise.
Yeah.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is where reseller bridges the gap between the two philosophies.
Historical versus active.
Right. They aren't saying historical data is useless. They are saying it's incomplete.
Okay.
Currently, listed data is actually a direct reflection of solds, but with the vital added context of current market competition.
Oh, that makes sense.
Reseller takes advantage of historical pricing, but it combines it with the entire competition's current listing price and age. It uses both halves of the equation.
Okay, so let's say we've done the research. We have our noise-canceling headphones on, we use the scatter plot, we factored in every single hidden fee, and we found the absolute perfect price.
The optimal setup.
Right, we've optimized the windshield. But let's be real. Even if you nail the price and beat the competition, it means $0 in your bank account if your listing gets yanked down.
Oh, definitely.
Or if your margins are destroyed by bad shipping strategies, nailing the price is only half the battle.
Exactly. You cannot maximize your profits if you are bleeding money on logistics, or worse, if you aren't actually allowed on the platform anymore.
Right. And the materials outline a few specific tools to combat this, starting with what I'd call their ninja tools.
Ninja tools, I like that.
The first is private search. Have you ever searched for an item on eBay, just browsing, just trying to see what a vintage camera goes for, and then suddenly your inbox is absolutely flooded with unwanted offers from sellers trying to push that item on you?
Oh, constantly. It's incredibly frustrating.
It really is.
You're just trying to do quiet market research, and suddenly you're fending off high-pressure sales tactics.
It makes you not want to search at all. But resellers' private search stops this entirely.
That's a huge relief.
It acts as a cloak. You can research to your heart's content without triggering that avalanche of inbox spam.
Yeah.
But the tool that I think really changes the game for margins is their paid shipping filter.
Yes. This is a subtle but massive advantage.
How so?
Well, the psychology of shipping in e-commerce is profound. Buyers will often happily pay $40 for an item with free shipping, but they will totally balk at a $30 item that charges $10 for shipping.
That is so true. It makes no logical sense, but human behavior rarely does.
Yes.
And knowing exactly what your competitors are doing with shipping changes everything. This exclusive filter lets you sort the active market to see exactly who is charging for shipping and who is baking it into their base price.
It reveals the whole board.
Right. If you see that every single one of your competitors is charging for shipping, you suddenly have a massive opportunity.
You can just pivot.
You can offer free shipping, price your item slightly higher, and instantly become the most attractive option on the board.
Oh.
It completely changes how you calculate your own margins and position your listing.
But, as you hinted at earlier, all the pricing and shipping strategies in the world are useless if you run afoul of the platform's rules.
Oh, yeah.
Account health is paramount. And this is where we transition from offensive pricing tools to the ultimate defensive protection tool.
The big shield. VERO, pronounced Vero.
Right. VERO stands for the eBay Verified Rights Ownership Program. For anyone unfamiliar, this is the system that brands use to protect their intellectual property. If you list a heavily protected branded item without the express permission of that brand, they can file a VERO claim against you.
And what happens when they do that?
Best case scenario, your listing is immediately taken down.
Okay, not great, but survivable.
Worst case scenario, your account takes a severe hit, your funds are frozen, or you face a permanent ban from the platform.
Yikes.
Brands do not mess around with their IP.
The materials actually drop a fun little fact here. Vero is the Italian word for true.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, which they say inspired the name of reseller's specific protection tool called Vero Heroes, because the people who use it are the true heroes of reselling.
It's a bit cheesy, sure.
It is, but I appreciate the branding.
The functionality behind that cheesy name, however, is incredibly serious.
Definitely.
Reseller has built a proprietary search that flags previously reported intellectual property claims before you buy an item to resell.
So what does this all mean? Let's think about heavily protected brands as a literal minefield.
Okay.
Every time you buy inventory to flip, you are stepping into that field. Stepping on the wrong brand, listing a protected item, blows up your account.
Yep.
This VRO Heroes tool is basically a live, updating radar detector for those intellectual property traps.
Yeah.
I mean, why on earth would you walk into a minefield blindly? If you could have an app in your pocket showing you exactly where the mines were planted.
What's fascinating here is how they accomplish this. It's a masterclass in crowdsourcing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're leveraging the collective experience and, frankly, the collective trauma of the reseller community.
Oh, wow.
The creators of Reseller acknowledge that nothing is completely foolproof in the world of IP claims. Brands constantly change their policies, new claims are filed every day, and the rules are always shifting.
So they can't promise 100% protection.
And nobody can. But what this tool does is legally and strategically aggregate data from the suspended sellers who came before you.
That's genius.
Every time someone gets a strike, that data point helps map the minefield. Reseller integrates this protection live, actively working while you search.
So let's put this in a real-world scenario.
Okay, paint the picture.
You're standing in the middle of a chaotic thrift store, or maybe a wholesale liquidation warehouse. You see a stack of branded electronics or a pile of designer plush toys.
Happens all the time.
They look like a great flip. You pull out your phone, you scan the barcode or type in the keyword into reseller. Instantly, you get a bright red alert saying, "Warning, this item has a high history of IP claims."
And right then and there, you can make the informed decision to just walk away.
Exactly.
You put the item back on the shelf before you ever spend a dime of your sourcing capital. You avoid getting a ding on your account, and you head off trouble long before it ever arrives in your eBay inbox.
You are quite literally learning from other people's devastating mistakes without having to suffer the consequences yourself.
Which is invaluable.
It really is. And to activate this live protection, you simply navigate to the VR Heroes tab on the platform, securely connect your eBay account so it authenticates, and you are shielded.
When you look at the aggregate of all these features, the fee calculators, the scatter plots, the private search, the VRO protection, it becomes clear that Reseller isn't just trying to be a better calculator.
No, not at all.
They are positioning themselves as a comprehensive partner for e-commerce operations.
And it seems like they are heavily invested in making sure sellers don't feel restricted while using it.
Yeah, that's important.
They offer unlimited searches, both the familiar keyword searches and the barcode scanning, meaning there are no caps on how much research you can do.
It's a huge deal.
You aren't rationing your data. You can scan every single item in the thrift store if you want to. It's providing a level of market insight that finally, truly takes the guesswork out of reselling.
It's an incredibly compelling proposition. They are taking the complex, overwhelming reality of the current market and summarizing it in a way that simply wasn't accessible to the average seller before.
You don't have to pick a magic number from a tiny sample of historical souls anymore. You don't have to fly blind. You can see the entire board right now in real time.
You really can.
And we have a very specific call to action for you listening right now, straight from the source materials. Stop guessing comps. Start your 7-day free trial with no credit card required at theresellerlife.com.
And there is a very specific order of operations you need to follow here to get the best experience.
Oh, right, the sign-up process.
You need to go sign up at the website first, and then download the free mobile app, which is available on both iOS and Android.
Yes, that is crucial. Website first, then the app.
Exactly.
The logic for this is simple, and I'm going to quote directly from the material here. By signing up to the website and then downloading our mobile app, you help us to help you by keeping our price low.
It's a win-win.
It is. And that price is remarkably low, just $7 a month after the trial. Plus, if you are someone who hates working off a tiny phone screen, the full service works flawlessly on the website too. You have the exact same power sitting at your desktop.
It really is about giving sellers the windshield to see the traffic ahead rather than forcing them to stare at where they've already been.
It's a complete shift in perspective.